Okay, I'm going to be talking about why extend species compassion. For a lot of people, they get this, and for a lot of people, they don't. And there doesn't seem to be too much overlap. I've never been able to understand why you can't, but I'm here to put forward a case why you can. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, first of all, back when we hunted, obviously in our primal days, I would say that having a lot of compassion for animals would be a detriment. Now, for the general population of the earth, bar some minorities, we no longer need to rely on this anymore. We have better alternatives. I think this is why to hold compassion for another sentient being, such as an animal, seems too hard for many people to fathom. Um, it's so ingrained. If you have a look at my other stuff, I talk about brainwashing, and I think this has a lot to do with it. The less you give it thought, the more you don't get the big picture of it all, that sort of thing. That's how brainwashing works. You don't think, you just do. Um, I know a lot of people who absolutely love their pets, treating it no differently to their own child. Yet these same people treat animals horribly. There's a lot of hypocrisy there. In the entire world, people have made pets from every species of animal, every species, which they can consider to treat well and love. You go to, here in New Zealand, man's best friend is a dog, there's cats, uh, guinea pigs, um, anything small and furry is usually considered a lovable wee pet, and then there's farms everywhere, and all they contain is sheep and cows. Honestly, New Zealand is not the place to go if you want to go and see the green countryside. You might as well just pick up a YouTube video and watch 2 minutes of a cow farm, because that's exactly what you're going to see. Yeah, so basically, getting back on topic is, yeah, we treat some one way, others the other way, and there is no logical reason why. Food, yes, is what everyone seems to say, oh, but we need that to eat it. Well, you go to Japan or anywhere like that, and the food sources become our pets, and vice versa. I mean, no one can agree, and it's really ridiculous, really. Um, I've I've heard people say that without human breeding cows to the slaughter, it is doing them a favour by keeping the species alive. Wow. Now, I don't know who out there actually believes this, but it was one of the debate topics in vegan versus others or something. I don't know. Type it into YouTube. Biggest debate ever on vegan versus non-vegan, and one of the topics was that we're doing them a favour. Well, I were one of them. I would rather you didn't do me this favour. Let me have my own turn at keeping my species alive, and don't give me a life filled with that sort of abuse, because, wow, pretty crazy, but it is one of the topics that people bring up. Some people feel it is their right to label these animals as mere products or convenience for our very existence, yet most of these animals were here before us, okay? Think about that. We just come along, and now it's ours, you know? Nothing was happening before we came along. Humans are fickle creatures, hugely fickle creatures. And I bet you the most fickle of all people, when they hear me saying this, will say, no, we're not. If that's you, Think about it. Self-reflect. A lot of us don't do enough self-reflecting, and that's what basically a lot of compassion comes down to. Do you internalize anything? But anyway, carry on. Animals, barring those that are carnivores and omnivores, and even so, they give more respect towards us than we do to them, give humans the same respect and even share compassion with humans too. Yet we do not reciprocate this on a macro level at all. Anyone who has a pet should know how compassionate that animal can be. They will try to look after you the best way they can. If anyone knows a dog, they're not called man's best friend because they run away and leave you in the dumps. I mean, they treat you like their own. Okay? Some argue that they are different because they've been domesticated. Well, sorry to point out the obvious, but we didn't teach them these traits. Okay? The only thing we taught them was control. We said don't poo there, don't shit there, don't sit there. We basically made their life worse, really. I mean, do you want to go through life being told, sit there, eat now, don't shit, do shit, get out of here, stay here, be my friend, don't be my friend right now? I don't know. Anyway, these traits you love so much in your pet, they're found in every non-domesticated animal or species. I mean, you've opened your eyes if you can't see this. Look outside at animals. Stray cats will lick each other, they'll groom each other. Yes, they'll fight, so do humans. You have a row with your sister doesn't mean you hate her, you know. You throw an egg at someone's house because you hate them doesn't mean you hate them, okay? Simple shit, really. I think we are truly lucky to be humans. We have huge power over our lives. Well, most of us, I'm not saying all of us, there's bad stuff goes on within the human race, that's obvious. I'm not here to talk about that right now, but I do acknowledge it. As a consequence, we've spent almost our entire existence trying to make it better for ourselves, individually and for the most part collectively. One of the greatest things I think we have is the power to be constructive. We can create, we can innovate, transform, and produce, really. I think one of the coolest things to do is extend the power we have to other living things around us. And why does that have to be just humans? I mean, are we that shallow about it? Like, by being so destructive and intolerable to other living things and deem them solely for our own purposes, we alienate ourselves in this world hugely. I mean, that's really sad. It's really quite sad. Compassion is evident among other species. I mean, that's just what we are. We're another species. Why can we not learn from these creatures? And we all share animal compassion at some levels because we want to. We make movies and books with animals as heroes or villains. We buy soft toys. Any old soft toy. Cats, tigers, bunnies, dogs. And we don't give these soft toys to people in the form of a meat pack. These soft toys have smiles on their faces. They have clothing, like human clothing. I've seen a lot of that. Like, we can't just give an animal without putting a little human clothing on it just to disguise it a little bit. We give these soft toys to the kids we care for, and they make imaginary stories about it. Kids do not share the same biased views that adults have, because it is taught when we grow up that we need to hate these animals. We need to eat them, we need to control them, and it's it's so far in there at the moment that the lobbying and stuff is huge, but I'll talk about that in another video. But Christ, it's so deeply ingrained at the mainstream level that I've done many advocating posts and stuff like that on Facebook, and you get hate back. You get hate. Why do you get hate back? You post something like, guys, what you're eating's not healthy for you, I recommend you look into this book. And if you're on Facebook, generally it's because you're friends with someone, so if you say that to a friend, it usually means you're trying to help them. The first response you get back is not one of, okay, I'll look into it. You know, this guy's my friend, he might know more than me about it, obviously he's had a look into it. What's he found? That's not what you get back. But anyway, that's on the brainwashing topics later on. Getting back to it. This biased action is shown throughout countries, where pets are selected for some and slaughtered for others. Yeah, it's really that simple. We seem to choose who we care for quite often, just because that's more convenient for us. This is a point I think many people need to see in their day-to-day lives, and it spurs lots of things. It spurs things like what people call midlife crisis. It spurs deep-seated anger. It spurs confusion. There's so much behind it, but humans are too good at adjusting. Okay? Humans are too good at adjusting. To an extent, people have become numb to species products. I was rereading the China study before this, and one of the points was that we used to eat a lot less meat than we do now. I think it was in the 50s or something like that. And there has been no input to say eat more meat or anything like that. In fact, the research back then was, and still is today, was eat less meat, but we ended up eating more meat. Okay? It's just we adjust to things. It's too easy. Someone says Chinese whispers, oh, this is good for protein, and then before you know it, you're consuming twice the amount, just to hang in there. We have turned a living creature into something completely different. Okay? You ask a farmer what they do, and more often than not, they will say, I farm stock, not I feed and slaughter species. One definition of stock found is the total goods or raw material kept on the premises of a shop or business. Okay, now that's a pretty general explanation of what a farmer does, but they keep it general because it doesn't sound good otherwise. Okay? You ask anyone who's proud of what they do, or job, or whatever, I'm sure some farmers do it as well, but you ask anyone who's proud of what they do and they will give you a detailed version of what you do. Saying I farm stock is not detailed, right? And it at the same time keeps you in the dark. People no longer see living creatures when they put their vacuum pack trays into the trolley right beside the orange juice. Okay, we live in New Zealand, Pack and Save, New World Countdown, you go to all those places. The meat is packaged the same way. A black bottom tray with Glad wrap over the top, and a few points on the front saying, thigh bone, whatever. Real simple shit. Not, not a picture of how it was done. You get that with orange juice, you look at any juice box, they've usually got a tree with orange juices getting squeezed from all angles, but You'd never see that with a meat pack. There's not a butcher at the front with his blade right through a sheep's head, smiling at you, you know, like he's done you a favour. You don't see that. I feel that if you can watch a slaughterhouse or any animal separated from their mum and not feel something for that species, or if you do feel something for them and you still eat species products, then you should seriously question yourself. I've had a lot of people, because I've become an advocate for being vegan for, I don't know, a while now, a little over a year probably, and one of the first things you do is try and show people what it looks like when these animals are killed, because a lot of the debate side that they run on is they don't feel anything, doesn't matter, you know, they're not human, pain's not an issue. But as soon as you try and show these people a slaughterhouse video, or even just a simple thing like taking a calf away from its mum, which is done all the time in the milk industry, they don't want to look, you know? And if you seriously can't look at where your food is coming from, then you shouldn't be doing it. For some species we have breeding programs, and for others we have farming. It's just a huge, like, we adjust so well, you know? Oh, we need to save this animal because we almost wiped it out through extinction, so we'll set up a wee box for it to sit in and mate while we control every plausible outcome of its life, until it gets too many of them, say, and then we do the opposite. We just adjust way too quickly. You look around, everything else in this world doesn't change that much, okay? And that's where I think we've gone wrong with our food. It's too much change. We live in houses with often too much room than we ever could need. I'm standing in one right now. This is just one small room with many dozen. But we're extreme. Animals out there, they're not wearing clothing. They're not brushing their teeth. They're not doing all this crazy stuff. They eat the right food that's in their food group. I mean, if anyone says an animal is dumb, this is crazy. They do a lot of things that are far better than we do. Yeah. But anyway, just reining in the point of that argument is that we adjust and things become too normal, and what wasn't normal is now normal, extreme becomes normal. Someone the other day, a friend of mine said to me, Chris, you know, I think you're right now. He was a previous meat eater. He says, oh, yeah, you needed to show me this, and I would have agreed. It was a website called nutritionfacts.org, and he said, oh, you know, that's really good information, that's what I needed to see. The fact is everyone needs to see something different, because everyone is different when it comes to this. Some the penny clicks for different decisions. But anyway, the point he was getting at was, he asked me, what do you eat? You know, he says, it's so hard to do it. And I said, oh, I eat a lot of fruit. I just had lunch. I would have 10 to 15 kiwi fruit and a few bananas. And he said, wow, that's extreme. Not to this particular case, but that's what I had today. And I've told him before, I often have meals with a lot of fruit. And he said, that's extreme. And I thought, this is what you deal with in this industry. You've got people thinking that eating tons of fruit is extreme. Now let's think about if you were back in the day when nothing was really civilized, and you came across a fruit tree in your passing. Because humans are travelers, we know that. We didn't get everywhere in the world from staying still. If they came across a tree with a bunch of oranges or a bunch of bananas or anything like that, would they have eaten two and then moved on? You know, and said, oh, that's enough, you know, I'm going to get bellyache. I'm hungry as shit and I don't know where my next meal's coming from, but I'm only going to have two of these bits of fruit. No way! There's no way they would have done that. They would have come across a fruit tree and they would have gorged. It would have been, you know, as much oranges or whatever was on that tree that they can handle. That would not be extreme. That would be being safe. That would be being bright about the decision. But today it's not. It's extreme. So in summary, I think what you should be thinking is why you're not giving species and animal compassion. You know, a lot of this learnt behaviour comes about, and I would ask what necessary reason is leaving you without this ability. You know, you've grown up, maybe you're a farmer. I know a lot of farmers who have extreme views on this topic. And then there's other people who became vegan really easy. I mean, your surroundings, your upbringing, they all play a part in what you believe, and all I'd urge you to do is think about your beliefs and how they may have came about, because that's what self-reflecting is all about. You look into these things and you make decisions based on what decisions you've made, you know? Alright, thank you.